So this is kind of a blues thing with arpeggios, with some sweep picking arpeggios, but I play 4-note arpeggios, dominant arpeggios, all of them dominant arpeggios, and I add this little sound of going between the minor and major third, which is a regular, a typical thing that you do in the blues, which creates that specific sound that is really awesome. You know, that kind of thing. That I add that to each and every arpeggio, but so other than that, the fact that they are dominant arpeggios, the little seventh, the flattened seventh added to each of them, I add those notes with the tapping, especially with the tapping. So that gives that sound, which is really killer, I think. And normally I guess that you wouldn't play blues in this way, but adding the sound of the blues to pretty much almost every other style is really just a benefit. I see it as you can even use it in metal and hard rock, which I'm sure you heard before. So these arpeggios are very inspiring, I think, to practice if you're getting sick of the regular old triads. So the first arpeggio that we get is the G dominant, or I even add the E, which is the 13, but I still wouldn't call it a 13. I don't think I get that sound that much, but I play it like this. So you can see I have 3 notes on the high E string, and I have 2 on the low, and I have 2 notes on the G string. And this concept is something that I worked a lot with. I use this a lot in my playing, but even though it shouldn't be that tough to add extra notes within a sweep picking arpeggio, for some reason, or not for some reason, but I guess the problem occurs that you have to rely on the sweep picking motion, because you don't want to stop between the strings going to the next string, even though you add extra notes. So you really have to fine-tune the picking motion for these types of arpeggios. But obviously, as with anything else regarding playing guitar, the repetitions will get you to your goal. So and this is also the reason I think that you should start with just drilling one of these arpeggios if this is new to you, before you play the whole thing. Because what happens in so many situations is that you play this big thing with a lot of arpeggios, or a big classical thing, and before you know it, you've been practicing it for a long time, not really going anywhere, because you want to take those baby steps that will make you master little pieces. And mastering just little pieces of something huge gives you that self-confidence, I guess, to continue instead of just trying to learn the whole thing, which is almost impossible to get it up the tempo if you try to learn or master a large piece which is all new to you. So that's just what I'm saying. Take those baby steps. Just try to master this one first, the first arpeggio here. Anyway, once you get this going, this arpeggio, then you can add this tapping. I tap with I keep the thumb between my I keep the pick between my thumb and my index finger, and then I tap with the long and ring finger. So it's 2-finger style. I tap the 18th and 19th fret, and in the case of the G dominant here, we then get that minor third, or the raised ninth if you prefer. So then here also, if you want to add the next arpeggio, or once you're ready to do that, then once I'm back on the 14th fret on the A string, I go into the C dominant. And for this arpeggio was new to me. I've not been using that arpeggio for so long. And so this took quite some time for me, even though it's short and stuff like that. It's still kind of, it takes time to drill these arpeggios to make them work. So I play on the D string. This is an arpeggio that starts on the D string, so I play the 10th fret, hammering onto the 14th, moving into the G string 12th fret, And here on the B string I get an extra note, so I play the 11th and hammer on to the 13th. And here I have 3 notes as well on the high E string, so I get 11, 12 and 15. And here again we get the minor third or the raised ninth, the major third and the 5th, like this. And then I tap the A and the C, so that will be the 6th again, or the 13th. And now this time I tap with my long and little finger. That fits a little better for that minor third interval, I think. Once I'm back here to the D string, I actually add one extra note, the 9th here. So from the 14th fret on the D string I pull off to 12 and 10, and then I play this little chromatic thing. I hammer onto the 14th fret on the A string, pull off to 13, 12 and 11, and then I use the same technique here, but this time from the 15th fret on the low E string, hammer onto the 15th, pull off to 14, 13, 12 and slide down to 10. And from here I play a D dominant arpeggio. And if you followed my videos before, you might have seen this one. It's from 10 to 14 on the low E string, then I use my long finger on the A string 12th fret, and index and long finger here on 10 and 12. It's a hammer on the D string, and then I go into the G string 11th fret and hammer on with my ring finger. It seems a little weird, but I think it works with the entire thing here. So I hammer on with my ring finger to the 14th fret and use my long finger on the 13th fret, 14th here and 13th here on the high E string. And then I get quite a stretch here on the high E string, so I play 10 on the high E string with my index finger and hammer onto my ring finger, 14th fret, and little finger to the 17th fret. And here I tap 2 notes. I tap 20th and 22nd. So in the case of playing D, that must be the 7th we add here. So with this one is just pretty much a standard dominant chord, the D. Going back again, once I'm back again here to the D, the root note, then I play some triads, but in a kind of a unorthodox way, I think. It's not easy, even though it's triads, I think. So I start on the A string, play a downstroke, hammer onto the 14th between index and little finger, and then I roll my long finger over the D and G string, 12th fret. Go back again to the 14th with my little finger and repeat that note, but this time I play it with my index finger here on the 14th fret, and then I hammer on with my ring finger to the 17th fret and roll that up to the D string and use my ring finger on the G string. 16th fret, go back again to D and A, and then up again to the G string. Then I use my index finger to roll over the B and E string here. 15th fret, and hammer on to the 19th. Then I tap the 22nd, and once I pull off again to the fretting hand, I slide that up to the 22nd. Initially I wanted also to add this final note on the 24th, but where I actually bent one minor interval up. But not that this should be an excuse, but actually this guitar is not a very comfortable guitar to play on. All the frets are really sharp, so I can't really slide fast between the notes. So that's and one extra little thing that you can add to this one if you wanna. And so, as I said before, just play or practice each individual of these arpeggios before you attempt to put the whole thing together. I know you've probably heard this many times before, but it is one of the eternal truths of learning guitar. These baby steps to be able to play anything at all. And because I see these guitar players that have been playing for years all the time, and they know all this stuff, but they're not really able to play anything of it very satisfying in a very satisfying way. And it's always the same case. It's the case of not taking these essential baby steps with the material. So really do yourself a favor and do that. I'm Niels Vejlyd, and please check back here on the blog if you haven't already subscribed to my website, The Secrets of Shred Guitar. If you do so, you will get updates every time I have a new blog, as well as the free program that is also there.